What's up guys, it's Michael here. In this video, we're going to talk about how to open, start up, and set up a business, including what you need to know and what type of forms you need to fill out if you're going to hire an employee as a permanent time worker, part-time, and also a contractor. So if you like this video, please click the like button down below and the subscribe button. Make sure to share it to other people who want to start up other businesses. And this video will give you a simple guide on what you need to know and where you need to go if you're going to plan one and set one up in your state. So let's get into it.
In this video, we are going to show you how to start a business by yourself. We will walk you through the process step by step. Many of us have hobby, and hobby usually generate incomes. When the income increase, some of us want to turn that hobby into business. So how to start a business and why do you want to start a business? As we explained earlier, hobbies turn into business when income increase. So the key difference between a business and a hobby is that a business is that people do it to make a profit. Hobby for sports or recreations is not for making a profit. So if your hobby is making income for you, you must well turn it into a business because you can only deduct hobby expenses up to your hobby income. As for business, you can deduct more if you have ordinary and necessary expenses. For business, you can deduct more than your income as long as the expenses are ordinary and necessary for you to generate the income. We can have another video to explain that, to explain what expenses you normally can deduct from a small business. Having a business also help you to have financial freedom. It's flexible and it can bring you a different lifestyle. Also, legally form a business. It can help you limit your personal liabilities. So now, how to form a business? Here are the couple steps you can go through to form a business. First is a business structure. Second one is to register the business. And the next step is to open a bank account. And the fourth one, after you do all three of them, get the documentation, you start your record keeping. And the next one, very quickly, you need to pay attention what kind of business tax you will be responsible for. And the last one is hiring employees to help you in business. Let's go through this one by one, and we're going to have video to go through each one of them in details. First one is business structure. When you start a business, first you need to decide on a legal structure for it. Usually you choose either from sole proprietorship, partnerships, corporations, S corporations, or limited liability companies. People often confuse which one I should choose. Sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is someone who owns an unincorporated business by himself or herself. However, if you are the sole member of a domestic limited liability company and you are not a sole proprietor, if you elect to treat the LLC as a corporation, who normally use the sole proprietorship? Normally, when people have a hobby and start to generate income, and you have a small scale of client base, then you may want to start that with the sole proprietorship. So one thing about sole proprietorship is it's unincorporated. So it is not legally protected in terms of personal liability. So you can simply get a business name and then start doing the business under the business name and just report your income under your personal income tax return. If you want to open, let's say you want to open a business just to sell merchandise in a swap meet, or have a business that doesn't require a lot of legal documentation, then you can have a sole proprietorships. The second one is partnership. So Partnership is the relationship between two or more people to do business together. So each person contribute money, property, labor, or skills and share in the profit and loss of the business. For partnership, you don't have to file with the state government to form a company. For general partnership, you just need to have a partnership agreement. If you have a limited liability partnership, you may need a local government certification. So the bottom line is that you don't have to go through a state government, register with the state government to form a partnership. A corporation. A corporation is a formal legal entity. You need to go through your state government to register the company, to get a corporate number, to form that company. In forming a corporation, prospective shareholder exchange money, property, or both. So for the company's stocks. So once you become a shareholder of the company, you hold the stock of the company. So most of the publicly traded company, they are corporation, because corporation you can have as many shareholders you can. You can have U.S. shareholder, you can have foreign shareholders. S corporation. S corporation is also a form of corporation, meaning that you form the company first. You form the corporation first, and then you make an election with the federal government to turn that into an S corporation. The difference between a corporation and an S corporation is that a corporation have to pay tax. And S corporation at the federal level, you don't have to pay tax. And all the tax paid by the shareholder. We have another video to explain the difference between all these entities, so it can help you to pick the one that fits for your business. The last one is a limited liability company. So this is a unique one. Limited liability company is a legal entity, meaning that you need to go to your Secretary of State to form the company, to register the company, like register a corporation. And this company, they have the feature as a corporation, have a protection of liability. It also have the feature as a partnership and a S corporation, meaning that the entity doesn't pay tax itself and the shareholder pay tax. So you only can be taxed at once. We can have another video to explain the difference between all these entities and how these entities be taxed. So the second step is how to register a business. It's actually quite simple. You can go to a lawyer and have them register for you, and you just need to pay them a fee. Or you can do it by yourself. How? So first of all, you need to decide which state you're going to set up the company. Why this is important to some people? Because the corporation law is different in every state to how to manage or organize all these companies. So usually if you only have one shareholder and you know that in the future you're not going to have many shareholders in a corporation or in a LLC, a limited liability company, so you don't have to go to other states to form a corporation. You probably can just form a company with your own state. How are you going to do that? For example, if you want to form a corporation and the corporation, you're going to use this corporation to do capital fundraising in the future, meaning that you're going to have a lot more shareholders come in. You will have more than 2 classes of stock. Why more than 2 classes of stock? One is common stock, one is preferred stock. Common stock is that you are the shareholder, you hold a common share of a company, meaning you have the right to vote for the decision for the company. If you are a preferred stock, meaning that you invest in the company, however, you don't have the voting right. You have the right to share the profit, but yet you don't have the voting right to make a decision for the company's business or operation. So when you have more than one class of stock and want to form a corporation and you expect to have many shareholders, then you may want to go to a state to form the corporation. That state will have a more friendly corporation law to protect a large shareholder. Now, how to register a business, we'll go back to this one, is you go to Secretary of State website to find the forms. And you can fill out the form to form a corporation, or maybe just search how to form a corporation in the Secretary of State website. They will give you the form, or some of the state you may be able to form the company online. So once you submit the documentation, some state can process it within a day. Some states will take a couple weeks. So they will send you an article of incorporation or an article of organization. Depends if you want to register a corporation or a limited liability company. So remember, the 5 entity we just went through, sole proprietorship, general partnership, you don't have to register these 2 companies. It's not that you don't have to, it's that you don't register this 2 companies with the state. So sole proprietorship, you just need to get a fictitious name. Go to your local county or city, go online and find that and get the fictitious name to secure the name you want to use to do business. Partnership, do the same thing. Partnership, you need a partnership agreement. But some of the state or some of the local government, they may need you to have a certificate. So this is a little tricky one, but usually partnership, you don't have to incorporate them. Corporation, S corporation, and limited liabilities are the ones that you need to register with your Secretary of State. Once you file with Secretary of State, get the state company ID number, then you can go to the Internal Revenue Service website to obtain a federal ID number. So how to obtain a federal ID number? We can have a video to go through it step by step. It's a very simple, easy process. You can actually get the federal ID number within 1 day. So once you get the state company ID number, you get the federal ID number, and don't forget, you need to have an operating agreement. So this operating agreement, you can prepare by yourself. If you are a one-person company, you can just download a form from online, download a template, or get a template somewhere to have operating agreement with yourself. Or if you have more than one owner, then you may want to have a lawyer to prepare that, to make sure that agreement is legal and executable. So you have a lawyer to prepare the agreement to make sure it is enforceable. The second one, you have the federal ID number, then you have the operating agreement. The next step is to open a business bank account. Why are you opening a business bank account? Because you do not want to mix your personal expending, your personal money with your business money. The IRS doesn't like that because you don't want to use business income to pay for your personal expenses unless the business pay you a wages. You use your wage to pay the expense. So how to open a business bank account? That's very simple. The bank usually asks for a couple of things. First is the article of incorporation or article of organization. So once you set up the company with your Secretary of State, they will send you a copy of the article of incorporation for the corporation or an article of formation or organization for a limited liability company. Then you already get your federal ID number online and you already have your operating agreement. So bring your ID, bring this 3 documentation and go to a bank and tell them that you want to open a business account. So once you have all those set up, now your company is set up. Once you have the company set up, then you need to pay attention to record keeping. Why it's important for record keeping? Because you need to reconcile your income and expenses, and you need to know how much you spend on your company, how much money you make. And why do you need that? Well, a couple of reasons. You use that for reporting your income tax and your other business tax. Also, you may need that to go to your bank and get a loan, a business loan, to help you expand your business. At that time, you need your financial to show to your bank. So if you're too busy in your business, you may need a good CPA. You need a good CPA. Next one. What are the business taxes you need to pay attention to? There are a couple business tax you need to pay attention to. You need to pay attention. There are a few business taxes that you need to pay attention to at the beginning. First is business income tax. Some of these 5 business entities have income tax, not all of them. We're going to have another video to go through the income tax portion for every single entity type later on. Second one is a sales tax. If you are in a selling business, you sell merchandise, if you sell service, you don't have sales tax. You may not have sales tax, but you may have a use tax. Depends on which state you are in. If you have question regarding sales tax and what tax type you need to pay attention to, what tax you want us to cover more, you can leave us a message, a comment. We're going to go into that detail. We can make a video about that. And the next one is employment tax. When you hire an employee, there are employment taxes you need to pay. And also property tax. Why do I use tax and capitalize ES? And property tax can be different type of property tax. One is real property tax, and the second one is personal property tax. So we can go into detail later on, because in some county, you also need to pay personal property tax on the equipment, machinery you use in the office. Yes, when you buy the equipment, you have to pay sales tax, but when you have the equipment and use the equipment in your business, you may subject to personal property tax as well, so you can be taxed twice. So the last one is hiring an employee. This is the last step. If your business expanding and need more help, then that is time to hire an employee. And there were a couple questions come up when hiring employee. So how to issue payroll by yourself, or how to calculate employment tax and pay employment tax and report employment tax. And what about you don't have employee, but you have non-employee? So the question is going to come in as 1099. How are you going to issue your 1099? When you need to issue your 1099, and what documentation you need to keep on file to protect yourself. So that's it. Very simple. When you set up a company, we can go back only a couple steps. First, determine what business structure you need to use. Second, register the business. And third, open a bank account. You have the company set up. And then you can go into record keeping, pay attention to business tax. If you need to register with your local government regarding certain of this tax, like sales tax and employment tax, you do need to register with different department. It depends on which state you're going to set up your company in. So that's all. That's very easy. If you have any question, please leave us a comment. We can explain, and we can even make another video to address your question. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video and find it really helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and including comment down below. So YouTube will also notify me if you have any questions that need to be answered if it's not answered in this video. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.